Jody, do you have a follow-up?
No, thank you very much.
All right, thank you for the phone call. And again, we are taking your calls for Daniel Mielke, Republican running for Congress against longtime Democratic incumbent Dave Obey. 261-6371 if you're in the Wausau area, 261-6371, or 1-800-780-9742, 1-800-780-9742. There is a line open for you. I'm Glen Moberg, and this is Route 51, regional talk radio for North Central Wisconsin on the Ideas Network.
Contributors to Wisconsin Public Radio include attorney Paul A. Sturgill, serving the legal needs of the elderly and their families throughout Wisconsin and Michigan's Upper Peninsula. Toll-free information is at 888-613-0600.
For more information on regional programming for North Central Wisconsin here at Wisconsin Public Radio, or to have your community event listed with us, check out our local website at wpr.org/WLBL.
The businesses, professionals, and organizations that support Wisconsin Public Radio's programming play an important part in our financial health. When you visit a WPR sponsor, please let them know that you appreciate their support of this station. Thanks very much.
I'm Glen Moberg. This is Route 51 Regional Talk Radio. Our guest today, Daniel Mielke. He has announced just within the last week that he's running for Congress as a Republican against longtime incumbent Dave Obey. He is a sustainable farmer from Portage County. And Daniel, tell us about your role as a property rights advocate. That's really what got you involved in politics, is it not?
Yes, it is. Back in, I'd say it'd be 1999, 98, there was an effort put forth called the Smart Growth Bill. And the state of Wisconsin decided to incorporate smart growth by 2010. I had concerns about that. While it's important to protect our lands and to protect our environment, I saw a lot of what I would call greed factors kicked into the bill, especially with those that were taking away the rights of the property owners. And I'm a firm believer that, we have the right to our property and the right to use it. One of the major aspects was the restrictions in regards to agriculture. It got to the point where if you just had a small parcel of land, you weren't allowed to grow on it if it was restricted out. And that concerned me, especially in the sustainable and organic industry. There's a lot of crops that are produced on very small farms, and that concerned me, and I wanted to protect the property rights. And I know a lot of people within the sustainable movement were surprised that I took that stand, but I think they lost focus. Sometimes we get so involved in trying to go to a certain direction that we forget to look at the parameter of what's going to happen down the road. And it was getting to the point where people were not allowed to do with their property as they saw fit, to the point of it was going to hurt our country.
Well, advocates for smart growth say that without planning and without a mandate for planning, the state in Wisconsin, developers will continue to pave over and develop farmland, and we'll lose our rural spaces, our farms, our forests, and all the things that make Wisconsin special.
And one of the best examples of planning is in Madison. Subdivision after subdivision after subdivision till you get about 40 miles away. And they've been doing it for years. The problem with government planning is too many people get involved and twist it to meet their needs, and that was my concern. You see that in many areas where smart growth was initiated, that it actually aided industry in regards to building subdivisions. And I believe that a good competitive nature keeps subdivisions down. When the only people that can build are subdividers, they boom.
Let's go back to the phones, 1-800-780-9742. Leah in Bancroft, you're on Route 51 for Dan Mielke. Leah?
Hi,
Hello.
I was wondering to know how Dan stands on illegal immigration.
Okay. Well, I'm opposed to making illegals legal by a pen in Congress. I believe that illegal immigration is one of the biggest problems we have right now in hurting our country. You have a situation where there are, they say, 12 to 12.5 million illegals on our soil today. More accurately, it's probably closer to 25 to 30 million. These are people that have come into our country illegally. They've despised our laws. They are circumventing the processes that we have in place to protect our nation. For me to turn around and give them amnesty, to me, is a slap in the face of American citizens. It's a slap in the face of those who are trying to come to this country legally. We need people in this country that are willing to uphold the laws and uphold the integrity of America, not those that despise it. And for illegals to receive an amnesty, to me, is an affront in that area.
Many of your fellow farmers disagree with you. They say they'd go broke without migrant laborers and without frankly, hiring some of the people who are here illegally.
There was a farmer near my area who couldn't quite make a living, so he decided to grow marijuana. He went to jail. Tell me, why is it that that farmer, with his reasoning for how to take care of his financial problems, was sent to jail, but the other farmer who decides to break the law and hire illegals gets amnesty and gets to do it to the competition where he actually competes against farmers who are trying to do things legally? No, I don't agree with that.
You obviously don't like illegal immigration. What's the solution? Do we build a wall? Do you deport between 10 and 30 million people, depending on the estimates of how many of those folks are here already?
Well, we have a problem sometimes in the farming industry. When the cattle are on one side of the fence and there's nothing there and it's all green on the other side, those walls don't hold you back. So the solution is to make sure that we're not putting the carrot out in front of them to make them want to climb that wall. And when you give them government-subsidized help, when you turn the other way, when they're living in our country or working in our businesses, and we allow them to prosper in the process, we will never stop illegal immigration.
What about the people who are already here?
If they broke the law, then they should be treated based on the laws in our nation. Our jails are full of prisoners that probably were prisoners in their own country, but we have become the caretakers of them because they come across the border, break the laws here, and we throw them in prison. So what's the difference, between our laws and their laws? We have to uphold them. And if somebody is here illegally, then they need to go home and turn around and come back legally.
Dan Mielke running as a Republican for Congress against Dave Obey, 1-800-780-9742. If you'd like to join the conversation, have a caller from Stevens Point. Caller, you're on the air.
Hi, I'm calling from the Stevens Point area. I know Mr. Mielke in the role of an assessor in our area. I know a couple families that were forced out of their homes because he raised the assessment so high that they could no longer pay the taxes. One of them was my sister, whose beautiful land along the river is now being subdivided. She couldn't afford it anymore, and so she sold it to someone who's decided to develop it. And I'd like to know his thinking on that and what other people think about his approach to taxation.
Dan, this has taken me by surprise. Yeah. Respond to the caller, please.
Okay.
What was your role as an assessor?
I do tax assessing for various districts throughout the state.
And is she right? Have you been too strict, and have you forced people off of their land?
I've obeyed the law, and I've fulfilled the law in regards to assessment. The lady's referring to some 3 people that have already lost their properties because of that. I am not aware of those 3, but I will assure you that our property tax system is pushing people off their property. The fact that I do that job is not where the problem is. The problem is we have a government that is taxing us to death. And the very fact that these people are facing this consequence is a reality of what it is. And the fact that it's coming out maybe will get people to change their mind. For me to circumvent the law, just as an illegal immigrant might, in the sake of trying to show favoritism to one person over another, is wrong. I'm not sure if the property we're referring to, but I know there was one piece of property along the river that was its waterfront wasteland, basically, but it was only assessed at about $300 and some an acre. There's very little $300 acre land left in the country, especially in Wisconsin. We're looking at more than 3,000. So that's where the problem comes in.
Hello?
Caller, yes, a quick follow-up if you'd like one.
I'd like to say within his parameters of assessing, he was at the highest. He was assessing people based on what their land could be rather than what it actually was, and this is why people were forced off.
All right. Thank you, caller.
Actually, in regards to that, what it is we have to assess by law based on what the market will give the highest and best use, and it's the law. And if you don't like the law, which I don't like the law, then we need to change it.